Drive with us, says Uber. Just not in London, say TfL. Today, the £1 billion company, matching passengers with private drivers, found its days numbered when Transport for London revoked its licence to operate in the city on the grounds that
not fit and proper to hold a private hire operator licence. Uber's approach and conduct demonstrate a lack of corporate responsibility in relation to a number of issues which have potential public safety and security implications.
Alexander has been driving with Uber for 4 years. What do you do next if Uber is no agent?
I don't know.
He says he's a loser, but there are winners.
Church bells will be rung and Te Deums will be sung throughout the land.
Unsurprisingly, the mood was upbeat with black cab drivers. The trade had lobbied politicians for years to get Uber banned, and it does not take a rocket scientist to work out why.
My takings are down quite considerably because of the competition.
And roughly how much a week have you lost out on?
Roughly about £150 a week.
The man leading their campaign is Steve McNamara. There are tens of thousands, millions of people even, who enjoy using Uber's service, and they trust Uber's service. So if the market says that there is demand, surely this is what should count.
Right, so what you're saying to me is that public demand should override public safety. So as long
What
as
I'm saying is that surely the
it's
two are related. So if the public didn't feel that Uber was safe, they wouldn't be spending their money with them, and surely they should therefore be allowed to use that service.
Right, many people will want to buy a T-shirt for £1 that's made by a small child in China. Doesn't make it right. It's morally wrong. It's morally wrong to expect an Uber driver to take you, across London an hour's journey and charge you £15, of which he gets £10.
James is usually an Uber driver. Today he's an Uber passenger. He took the company to court to be recognised as a worker and therefore entitled to sick pay, holiday pay and a minimum wage. He won, but he says today's news is bad news for Uber's drivers.
The reasons they've given for delicensing Uber still don't address the core issue. So the core issue is the encroachment that minicabs now have on the black taxi market. We need to reform the regulations to address that, and worker rights. None of those was given as a reason for delicensing Uber. So the stage is set now for Uber clones to run in and do exactly the same thing again. And the Mayor hasn't addressed that. That's the most important issue.
Uber say they plan to appeal today's decision, but if they do not succeed, what happens to the 40,000 estimated drivers who rely on it with no workers' rights?
Well, a short time ago, I spoke to Fred Jones, who is Uber's head of cities. I put to him some of the complaints levelled against the company.
Let me take you through some of those. So first of all the drivers that use the app are licensed by Transport for London. They all have the same background checks done by the DBS service, and it's Transport for London that decide whether a driver is fit and proper or not to transport the public.
So you're passing the buck to them?
And then they sign up to the app.
You're passing the buck to them, then?
We've also pioneered a number of safety features, such as all trips tracked by GPS, which aren't available anywhere else in the industry.
But you are basically passing the buck to the regulator on background checks there.
Well, Uber does not conduct the background check.
What is very clear is that Metropolitan Police have deep concerns about your reporting of criminal offences. I mean, let me just quote to you from the Met Police taxi team. They say that a man who worked for Uber was allowed to stay despite an allegation of sexual assault, and he then went on to commit another more serious attack on a woman in his car. And I just want to quote to you from the inspector there. Had Uber notified police after the first offence, it would be right to assume that the second would have been prevented. That's quite a damning charge, isn't it?
So we were surprised by the letter written by the Met Police because we have a very good working relationship with them. We have a dedicated team that works directly with the Met Police to help them respond to any inquiries.
So what happened in that case then?
Well, as we pointed out in our response to that letter, the incidents described were not sexual assaults. One was holding a can of identifier spray, and the other one was when the driver hugged a passenger. Clearly,
well,
this was in breach.
Isn't it for the police to determine what is a sexual assault, not for Uber to determine what is or is not a sexual assault?
Well, in this incident, it breached our terms of conditions, and the driver lost their access to the app, and we immediately reported this to TfL.
Well, hugging a passenger, you don't describe that as any kind of sexual assault?
That's in breach of our terms of conditions. And so in this event, we reported it to TfL.
The thing is, it's not just this one incident, is it? Because TfL, Transport for London, have said that your delays reporting crimes to the police are totally unacceptable. What do you say to that?
Well, as I say, we have a good working relationship with the police.
If you have such a good working relationship, why have you delayed, in many instances, reporting crimes to the police?
So we have an obligation to report all serious incidents to TfL, which we do. And with riders, we encourage them to report incidents to the police, and we fully support them in doing so and provide all the necessary information for the police to carry out their investigations.
But you shouldn't be just encouraging drivers to report to police. You should be reporting crimes to the police, shouldn't you?
So, you know, some passengers do not wish to report their incidents to the police. We really encourage them to do so. And when they do report them, we provide all the necessary information to the police and cooperate fully in the investigations.
I mean, the other area in which you're accused of not playing by the rules is on employment rights. Why don't you drop that appeal against the employment tribunal that you lost and just guarantee basic employment rights to your drivers right now?
So the most uninnovative thing about Uber is that the drivers are self-employed. Private hire drivers have been self-employed for decades in the industry. This isn't a thing that's unique to Uber. And what drivers tell us is the one thing they value most is the flexibility to be their own boss and choose when and how they work.
So how long do you think that Uber will be on the streets of London then?
Well, look, our priority after the news today is to support those 40,000 licensed drivers that could lose their right to work.
So how long do you think?
We're going to appeal the decision immediately, and our focus is on continuing our service beyond the 30th of September.
So you're confident that you'll have several months more of service?
Well, obviously there's a legal process to run, and it's still very early days. We only got the news today when you did. But we're focusing very hard to support those drivers, and so they continue to use the app while we fight this.